Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today?
Good.
How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. We have arrived. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here today. We've made it now through 2 months of this year. January's done. February's done. We're now into the third month, March, and we're on the third day of the third month. So let's look at what we got going on today. Okay, so we know our sun sign is the same. That hasn't changed. So the sun sign is Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. So remember, we're dealing with elements. We're dealing with energy. Everything in life is energy. Fire, water, air, earth, spirit. Okay? Fire is represented by, means ideas, the mind. Water, words, emotion. Or water is emotions. Air, words, actions. Earth, form. And then spirit. Spirit breathes into everything as ideas. Those ideas then become love. That love is then expressed as words or action. And those words or actions that are expressed then become the form. It's a very simple formula. And as you work with this recipe and you just learn how to work with the different elements, you get better and better at what you're doing. Every day, that's all we're doing. We're working with energy. So if we know what energy we're working with as we go into the course of the day, it will help us to understand, right? So we have Pisces, which is water, emotions. So we're dealing with a time where we have a lot of this emotional energy around us, this Piscean water energy. So Pisces, the fish, we have fish swimming 2 different directions. Why are they swimming different directions? Because when the emotions hit, they get all excited and they want to go one direction. And then something else comes along and hits the emotions and then they want to swim the other direction. And so the fish keep going different ways. Well, it's not really very helpful if the emotions keep guiding things along and there's no discipline. So the fish, the idea of the Pisces, needs to balance and discipline itself out so as not to get caught up in every whim that goes on, but to be able to look at the emotions, look at what's happening, and then in some cases even prioritize what's happening. Because we can't do everything at once. We have to be able to be organized in what we're doing. So when we look at all of the 12 signs of the zodiac, on their own, they all have particular values, particular qualities. What we want to do is be able to learn how those qualities work with other qualities from other signs. And we work together and they help each other out. So with the Pisces, with the emotions and the feelings and the tendency to be able to go back and forth, we apply some discipline, some of the lessons from other places to be able to now go forth without jumping back and forth between the emotions. And so we learn how to work with these different energies. What energy are we going to take in that's going to help us to balance out this energy and so on and so forth. Okay? So that's the whole idea. So if we look over here today, we've got, not only do we have the Pisces energy as the sun sign, which deals with the conscious mind, but the unconscious mind, which is the moon sign, is Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So we've got 2 signs going on here, the ending and the beginning. The conscious mind has the Pisces, which is the last sign. The unconscious mind has Aries, which is the first sign. So we see some sort of ending and beginning of a cycle, cycles which continue over and over and over and never end, never begin, but are just ongoing. So with Aries, Aries is the pioneer. Aries is the emperor. Aries is setting things in order. So we're organizing what's going on. That's why it's first. The first thing we do is we organize our ideas. Okay, so we've got this. Aries is fire, ideas, creativity. And if we look down here, we see we just went through an aspect here between Pluto And Aries, Pluto is deep transformation. We've just entered into this aspect here just prior to the show starting. So we're dealing with some lessons of some deep transformative energies that need to be channeled. And when we channel them and when we utilize them properly, we're then able to go ahead and move past whatever that obstacle was to help us have a deeper understanding about things. Okay? All right, so now let's go over to our numerology for today. Our numerology for today, it shows us is the number 4. All right, so how did we arrive at the number 4? Here is how. Okay, first thing we have is we have the number 3 for the first month, March, which is always going to be a 3 the rest of this month. We have the day, which is the 3rd. So we also have a 3 there. And then we have the year, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4. That is 7. What I'm doing here is we're going to reduce all the numbers down to a single digit. So the 2014, we're going to just keep this all together since it's the year. We know it's a 7. Okay? This is called theosophic subtraction. It's where you reduce down to one number. So we have then March 3rd, 2014, 3 plus 3 plus 7. That's 7 plus 10 plus 3, it's 13, 1 plus 3. So here we have the 1 plus the 3. We're going to reduce it again further, 4. Okay, so that's how we got it a 4. So today, the 4 is about the Emperor, setting things in order. So it says 4s are disciplined, strong, stable, pragmatic, down-to-earth, reliable, dependable, hardworking, extracting, precise, methodical, conscious, frugal, devoted, patriotic, and trustworthy. Okay, and the flip side of that, 4s pay for their stability and pragmatism by tending towards the boring side. This may express itself as a lack of imagination, emotions, empathy. 4s may not bother to put much care into their appearance, and their social awkwardness can make them seem vulgar, crude, or jealous. We have Emperor and Aries. Now, I just mentioned those because today, not only is it a 4-tone day, or a 4 numerology, but today we have the Aries as the moon sign. So this is the Aries, this is number 4, so there's synchronicity going on between this. He who sets in order. The Hebrew letter He means he who sets in order. So the Emperor is setting things in order, setting the conscious mind in order. So the ideas come by, we create things, we take the fire, the water, the air, and the earth, we create these energies, we bring them into manifestation, and the Emperor is then going to look at those things to see if the organizational process is correct, that is making this product come out in the proper manner, and then we'll make adjustments from there. So the Emperor is very important. We all need to have this organized mind. That's what today is about. An organization of the mind, organization of our ideas. So use this energy, work with that today to organize your thoughts, your ideas, and just see how that goes. And you'll find that as you work in synchronicity with the numerologies and the astrologies of the day, you will help yourself out by working more in accord with what's going on. Now, it doesn't mean, because I know there's a lot of folks out there who say, oh, this is all against God. It's not against God. God, you can go through the Bible, you can go through various spiritual and esoteric books, and it's very much a part of what we're supposed to understand about life, how energy works. The misunderstanding is that people give up their power to these things. They give up their power to tarot. They give up their power to astrology, as if there's someone out there, something that is bigger or that they're supposed to give their power up to, and that's not the case. All of these are tools, way to look at the energies of life. We understand the energies of life, just sort of like if we're going to go out, look at the weather, see what the weather is, and once we understand, we can act accordingly. We know if we're supposed to take a raincoat, we know if we need to have a short sleeve shirt, whatever the case may be. We're just looking at the energy. That's it. Understanding what's going on around us is very important. Now let's go over to our moon phase. Our moon phase is waxing, which means we're going down. Means from the full moon back down to the new moon. From the new moon back up to the full moon. So it's waxing, wax on. And then waning is going down. So we're on our way back up. We just had that new moon just over the weekend. If we look over at our sky watch for this week, right here, we're on Monday, March 3rd. Look high above the moon in the west after dark. for the stars of Aries hanging almost vertically. Okay. Again, Aries, our moon sign for today, so that's what we're looking for. This isn't, is this a particular graphic for today? No, this is the 6th through the 10th. We're not there, so no particular graphic for today. Just look up for Aries tonight. Now, if we go over to the Mayan Oracle, we are still in the wave spell of the mirror, which is about the reflection around us, looking around us. Everything is a reflection of who and what we are. So as we understand that, it helps us to understand better how to move through life, because we're seeing reflections of ourselves. Today we are at the 7th place along the way, so we are learning this lesson, the theme of the endless reflection of life, and today we're over at the seed, planting a seed. Okay, seed's about growing. We plant a seed, it grows. About flowering. The guide for today is the warrior. A warrior is about using intelligence to be able to get through a situation, so we don't have to go into a fighting situation. We use our minds and our intelligence. It's better to use our mind to get out of a fight than have to go into a physical altercation. We've evolved past the point we don't have to be physical in that way anymore. So today we have the resonant tone, which is 7. So today's the resonant seed, guided by the warrior. The phrase for today, I channel in order to target inspiring awareness. I seal the input of flowering with the resonant tone of attunement. I'm guided by the power of intelligence. Now we are in this middle pillar here as well, so this is something else to consider as you're going about the day. Right here we've got 6 columns reflecting the last 6 columns, and the middle pillar is on its own. So it's the central pillar where we go in and everything kind of revolves around us. It's that eye of the hurricane, so to speak. We get in here and we really get to see the magic of what's happening, because everything's revolving around this central pillar. Okay, and you can see we've got quite a ways to go yet. We'll be here all this week and into next week as well. All right, and last, space weather, solar wind 350.8 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is between a 2 and a 3. We're in the quiet range at the moment. We do see some coronal holes that are starting to move around. These are going to be making their way towards us, and you could see these are quite large. So eventually we will have these facing our direction, and depending on the way and different factors, well, we may or may not get some solar wind thrown our way. It certainly will be thrown out into space, and we'll see if it makes our way towards us or not. M-class flare possibility is up to 70% chance, where it was when we ended last week, and X-class flares dropped down from 30 to 25. Geomagnetic storm activity is pretty low as well. Alright, so that kind of gets us started with what's going on at the moment. UFO news is up next. Stay tuned.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today we have a whole bunch of UFO stories, and the first one's going to start over here up by Jupiter. Now, you may have noticed this if you are scouring around the internet, of this strange blue object right here, and it was out by Jupiter. Okay, there's Jupiter. There's the object right there. Incredible object caught near Jupiter, which seems to have a core shaped like the number 8. The 4 frames indicate it has a flight path. This rules out lens flare, in my opinion. Whatever this object is huge in scale and is heading our way. So further sightings of this mysterious object should be forthcoming. What could it be? Alien mothership, extraterrestrial biosphere, or something else? As always, you decide. Alright, so there you go. Let's check this out again. Here it is. What is this? What is this? Very interesting indeed, huh? And you could see it definitely has that number 8 to it as it moves around. Heat signatures with it. And we certainly will find out in the upcoming days and weeks. But there it is again. You can see it's moving through. And there are those who are saying, oh, this is just a lens flare. But again, we're used to folks right off the bat wanting to claim that things are lens flares or swamp gas or some other stuff. Okay, moving on from there. Now, this is UFO sightings in Alabama and Mississippi. There we go. Huntsville, Alabama. The mission of MUFON is to scientifically study UFOs for the benefit of humanity. Richard Hoffman, director of the Mutual Identified Flying Object Network for both Mississippi and Alabama, said the Dayton, Ohio native has been a member of MUFON since the organization was founded in 1969. His travels have taken him all over the country, cataloging and studying alleged UFO sightings. If you think he's kidding, you'd be wrong. In fact, he says just last year they were busy tracking UFO sightings in our area. Alabama, for example, last year had somewhere in the range of about 70 sightings that are reported. Mississippi had only about half of those. Hoffman continued. And here we have a link to a nice little piece here. I'm going to leave that for you to watch because it's just a repeat of what I was saying. But check that out. All right, here's a compilation video. This is a compilation of sightings from February. So you can kind of check out, see what took place. Some of these, of course, you will recognize because we've covered and gone over these. From Anonymous UFO. All right, some of these you won't recognize because we didn't get them. Okay. There we go. So this is a 5-minute video. And as always, some great captures from around the world. Okay, I'm just kind of zipping through so we can just see. All right, moving on. Now, you've seen this story on ancient aliens. This is at Punku in Bolivia. And this is this huge rock and these big, large, seem to be some sort of structures to put things together. It says, of the megalithic ruins of the world, one that still stupefies visitors to South America, researchers and laymen alike, is the complex of Tiwanaku, also called Tiwanaku in Bolivia. The most mysterious part of this archaeological site for many is Pumapunku, a cluster of shattered hard stone building block components that lie undisturbed in the high-altitude grasslands near Lake Titicaca. The strangest thing about Pumapunku is the stone cutting technology found. There is not present any other location in Bolivia, Peru, or fact in the world. And what you're going to find right here is just a little bit of info about this. Okay. Now, I'm going to leave this video for you to watch. You've seen, if you've watched Ancient Aliens, which I'm sure you have, you've probably seen this story here. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention so you have the link available. Next, we have Indian Air Force detects UFO in its radars near the India-Pakistan border. The Indian Air Force, IAF, decided to use its Su-30 MKI after detecting a slow-moving unidentified flying object through its radars. The UFO is coming from international border with Pakistan and going towards India. It came near to 2 civilian flights flying in that area. According to the IAF source, they were also in red alert after observing a UFO from Pakistan entering its border and came near 2 civilian flights. Okay, there's no video or anything here, just a story. All right. The next one here, this is a piece, it's an interview, and this is an interview with astronaut Leroy Chiao, who is commander of the International Space Station for 6.5 months. During a spacewalk with cosmonaut Salazan Sharpirov, the two were installing navigation antennas. They were 230 miles above the Earth, traveling at over 17,000 miles per hour, when something unusual caught Chiao's eye. I saw some lights that seemed to be in line with, and it was almost like an upside-down check mark. And I saw them fly by, and I thought it was awfully strange, he told the Huffington Post. His fellow spacewalker Shapirov didn't have seen any lights because he was facing the opposite direction. The experience, recreated in the video above and the still image right, launches NASA's Unexplained Files, one of several programs presented as part of Science Channel's week-long Are We Alone series beginning March 2nd. Down to Earth explanation is offered for Chow's sightings, the bright lights of the fishing boat hundreds of miles below him. But is this the only possible interpretation of what the astronaut saw? Alright, so apparently what we're looking at here is, I don't know if this is the real thing or a recreation, but they're saying that he was just looking and seeing a boat. A boat, or is it swamp gas? Or is it Venus? I don't know. But they certainly don't want you to think it's a UFO. Next, Zechariah Sitchin, one of the few scholars able to read and interpret ancient Sumerian and Akkadian clay tablets. Zechariah Sitchin, from 1920 to 1910, based his best-selling The 12th Planet on the text from the ancient civilizations of the Near East, drawing both widespread interest and criticism. His controversial theories on the Anunnaki origins of humanity have been translated in more than 20 languages and is featured on radio and television programs around the world. This is a 44-minute documentary. I'm going to leave this for you to play. I'm pretty certain at this point in time you've probably heard Zechariah Sitchin talk. You're probably familiar with his work. If you aren't, check this out. And even if you are, check this out. Zechariah was very, very well informed, great information, and it's well worth your time to be aware of that. Be aware of what he discovered. Now, here we go to looking at the overall sightings for the month of February. This comes to us as the National UFO Alert Rating System has been updated for March 2014, with California, Florida, Texas, and New York moving to a UFO Alert Level 3 as the highest reporting states, with 25 or more cases during the month of February 2014. California was leading the high reporting state in February with 59, down from 102 in January. Those states in a UFO Alert 4 category 13 or more include Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Washington, Georgia, and New Jersey. All other states moved to UFO Alert 5 category with lower numbers of UFO activity. The watch states with 10 or more cases are North Carolina, Ohio, Illinois, and Oregon. MUFON released February statistics on March 1st, where the total number of UFO reported sightings is listed by state. The UFO Examiner uses these statistics to rate sites. The entire country was moved back to the lowest alert level 5. Okay, this comes to us from Roger Marsh over at the Examiner. And one last UFO story for today. Early UFO accounts include flying sails and more. Over the year, there have been many UFO accounts across Cape Cod. Perhaps our proximity to water and flat surfaces makes us susceptible to these eyewitness reports. In March 1964, a Wareham family, father, mother, and daughter, were driving home and saw a large reddish-orange triangle-shaped object flashing above them at a height of 200 to 300 feet. The object, with the appearance of a sail, zig-rigged like a boat and then disappeared over Silver Lake. After reporting their sightings, the Otis Air Force Base, the family could offer no explanation, but very firm on the fact that they did see a UFO. In other early accounts of UFO, people said that they saw flying saucers in South Wellfleet in 1957, flashing UFOs in Hyannis in 64, a ball of fire in Barnstable in 53, and a flying ball seen by fishermen in Truro also in 1953. Another account from Chatham in 52 described the unidentified flying object as a black blob. In that small article, the UFO was said to be about the size of a baseball and a blazing tail of 100 feet long. Some scientists offered this explanation of meteor showers in the area. So there you have it. That's our UFO news report today. As you can see, each and every day there are sightings around the world. So we could look at this and we could say, oh, this is a silly subject for people to be talking about. Or we could just say, you know what? It's no longer a silly subject. It's what's going on in the world. And just as much as the reality of everything else that's taking place, this is a reality. And the more we look into the subject of UFOs, the more we find out that they've been part of our history for a long, long, long time. So we're just coming to understand something now that has taken place and has been taking place. And I believe that the more we understand it, the more it's going to really help us tie in with what's taking place right now on the planet. So that's it. That's our UFO news. I'll be back in just a few moments. We've got an interview coming up with Dan Johnson of Panda, so lots of good things. Stay tuned, and let me just jump up here, find a nice little song to transition over to. There we go.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if I land and two if I see? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right. Demanding the truth. That's what I'm about. I believe that's what you're about out there. That's what we all need to be about. Because when we demand the truth, we'll have a much different way of life, not only in the United States, but around the world. All right. Today we have a theme going. We've got two quick things I just want to tell you and then jump into the interview because they all tie together. The theme is about Americans stepping up. So this first here, just wanted to give you this link. 30 states wage war on Obamacare. So we see people are standing up to this. They don't feel it's right. The battle over the deceptivity titled Common Core Statistics Initiative, or CCSSI, is raging, and the rhetoric is fierce. Supporters of the national standards have called their opponents right-wing nuts and black helicopter types. All of us get lumped together as the fringe, the far right, Tea Parties, etc., says Jane Robbins, co-author of the report. But when they don't have the facts on their side, they report ad hominem. Opponents of Common Core claim it is the product of progressive elitists who want to put all children under control of federal government bureaucrats. That view is reinforced with the panelist at the liberal think tank Center for America Progress discounted the opposition as only a tiny minority, claiming the views should be ignored because the children belong to all of us. There's a lot more to this article. I'm going to leave this to you, but if you're familiar, Common Core is the standards that they're trying to put out for children, and there's a lot of weird things that are going on. Kids are not being taught to think for themselves. They're being taught what to think. And the more parents that are becoming aware of this, the more they're becoming outraged. So they're standing up. They're speaking. As you can see, you have a number of people here. This is just one small example of people that are standing up. So it's good. It's good people are standing up. Here's another example of people standing up. Are the American people finally starting to stand up to those who are trying to take away their liberties? Again, a good question, a question that has been asked, that many are asking who are working so hard to see that our freedoms aren't taken away. Says Americans are starting to wake up from their fear-induced haze. We don't buy the justifications for mass silence. For the first time since 9/11, we value privacy more than anti-terror protections. We're sick of the war and no longer falling for government pro-war arguments. Indeed, the American people are starting to actively push back against those who want to strip us of our freedoms. Says University of Tennessee law professor Glenn Harlan Reynolds wrote last week in USA Today, Americans' ruling class have been experiencing more pushback than usual lately. It just might be a harbinger of things to come. Okay, we got a lot more to the article. I'm going to leave this for you because I want to get on with the interview. But the point being, people are standing up. Because I know a lot of you are asking the question, when are people going to stand up? We see all these injustices taking place. Well, what's going to happen? Well, there are people standing up. Every single day there's good Americans. We just don't always hear about it because we have a mainstream network who kind of keeps control of what goes on. Well, one of these individuals that is standing up, his name is Dan Johnson. And I did an interview with Dan on Saturday. And I'm going to play this for you. I'm going to play a part of it here, and then the whole video itself, the link will be available. It was just short of a 50-minute interview. Dan Johnson, he's the head of Panda. I'm going to go ahead and play this for you, and you'll find out all about Dan. He's been on the show before, so you should be already familiar with what he's all about. Here we go. Dan Johnson. All right, hello everybody. This is Josh Poet, First Contact Radio. I'm here with Dan Johnson. He's been on the show before. He's the gentleman who's out there fighting against the NDAA, making sure that we Americans are aware of what's going on. We stay safe and sound. Dan Johnson's a 20-year-old. He's a founder of the People Against NDAA, which would be his website, Panda, PANDAUnite.org. He's a nationally renowned writer, speaker. He founded Panda in January 2012, and it has since become the largest anti-NDAA organization in America, introducing or pushing over 18 pieces of state and numerous pieces of local anti-NDAA legislation. A grassroots, nonpartisan, nonviolent organization, Panda is supported by groups across the political spectrum, united to prevent the laws of war from being used here in the United States and on American citizens anywhere in the world. Dan, welcome back to First Contact Radio. It's glad to have you here. How are you today?
I am doing awesome. It is good to be back. It's been a while since I've been on here.
It has been a while, and I know you've been busy because I've been following along with your website and the emails that you send. So, what's going on? What's happening? I understand there's some victories that you have to report. So, lay it on us.
Sure. So the last time I believe I came on First Contact Radio, we hadn't even launched the Take Back campaign. And since we launched the Take Back campaign, it's been absolutely amazing. I want to go kind of the basics for anyone who doesn't really know. The NDAA, or National Defense Authorization Act, is a federal law passed every year to fund armed forces, fund the military. Usually fairly mundane, usually just funds that side of things. However, in 2012, it authorized the indefinite military detention of any person who is deemed a suspected terrorist without a charge or trial, and no attorney, can't speak to the family, anything like that, pretty much thrown out the window. It violates over 14 provisions of the U.S. Constitution. So we founded Panda back in January 2012 to fight it, and we were at one point the largest organization in the nation, and now because of the Take Back campaign, we've really kind of developed into a movement. And so since developing into a movement, we decentralized, got rid of all of our teams, got rid of all of our chapters. Now we help people in a decentralized fashion that takes the power out of our hands and gives it and makes sure it's in the grassroots hands. And we're very, very excited about that. Very happy to have that kind of structure. And since we launched that kind of structure, we have been winning. The first city in the nation to defeat the NDAA, October 7th of last year, Albany, New York, took it down. Awesome. And was the first city in America, capital of New York. What a great start. I mean, we had Albany was, I told the team, I'm like, guys, we have not had a victory in a year and a half. No one's going to take us seriously if we don't win here. So we threw everything we had, threw all our chips on the table. Lo and behold, the vote was supposed to be 7-6, 7 against, 6-4. The vote ended up being, with 100 people in the audience and a live band preceding the vote, the vote ended up being 11-0 in our favor. So it was really great, and that taught us a lot. We kind of took those lessons. 2 days later, Oxford, Massachusetts became the first city in Massachusetts to do it. On the 21st of October, Webster, Massachusetts. On the 17th on the 17th of December, Emmett, Idaho. So now you got 3 states in the mix. And just Monday, the first county in the nation to say no to the NDAA, no to the laws of war, and not just nullification, but we're going to interpose. If they tried to do this, we're not just going to stand back and watch them. We're going to step in the way and defend your constitutional rights, constitutional liberties. Gem County, Idaho becomes the first county in the nation to do that on Monday.
Awesome. So explain a little bit more in depth when you say take down the NDAA and that these states have done this in these places. What does that mean so people understand when they hear that?
Each of your elected officials takes an oath to the Constitution. When they take an oath to that Constitution, it's not taking an oath to a piece of paper. It's taking an oath to the rights and the liberties enshrined in that piece of paper. And they must, if your liberties and your rights are under attack, they not only have the authority, but they have the duty to stand up and ensure and stand in the way, when James Madison called interposing, to make sure that your rights and liberties cannot be infringed upon. So what we go around and we've done is we've created a resolution to ban the laws of war. Now, laws of war is the backbone of the NDAA. Remember, in 1942, 120,000 Japanese Americans were detained without charge or trial, including some Germans, some Italians. Well, they didn't need the NDAA back then, and they don't need it now. It's helpful, it's legal, they don't need it now. So we're going after the basis of it, which is the laws of war. And we're saying to these elected officials, we're helping citizens at least. We're not actually on the ground doing this. We're helping citizens do this. But we're helping them say to their elected officials, you took an oath to the Constitution. Constitution defends my right to a trial. The 2012 NDAA and the laws of war violate my right to a trial. It is up to you to make it illegal and to stand in the way and to make sure the police and sheriff's department stand in the way for my rights. And the argument you'll hear is, well, we're local level, and federal law trumps state law, and state law trumps local law. Well, they all took an oath to the Constitution. And an oath is like a marriage vow. It's something you must keep regardless of the circumstances. So if you take an oath to the Constitution and you're saying you can't defend it, you may as well take an oath to the Russian Constitution for all the good you're doing in the United States of America. So these elected officials, we hold them to their oath, hold them to their solemn word, and force them, push them, pressure them. They don't like us, so I use the word force. We push them, we help people push them, we help people pressure them into legally banning, first of all, the laws of war, then putting that legal ban in official police policy. So now a police officer can be fired for violating, not only can they be jailed because it's illegal, but they can also be fired for violating that. And finally, we'll help people set up a Citizens Neighborhood Watch or a Citizens Watch team to keep an eye on the local government and ensure that their rights are protected and ensure their local government is held accountable.
Awesome. Very good. So here's a silly question for you, but I know it's a silly, and we live in the United States of America. We watch the news. If something was going on, they would tell us about it. how is it possible that we live in a country where there are people doing these kind of things and our media is not telling us?
You mean the same media that took $13-ish billion from the Pentagon to report on the Iraq War the way the Pentagon wanted them to doesn't tell us that things are happening in America?
Yeah. So you're saying money?
Money, control, power. You see, one of the things that dictators throughout history have had to do in order to lock down a country is they have to control the media sources. They have to control the information. We saw the control of information break when the internet really went mainstream, when it really got widespread. And that's why you had SOPA, the Stop Online Piracy Act, a couple of years ago, the Kill the Internet bill. We're going to be able to censor the internet. We're going to be able, because a dictator wants to lock down information sources. In North Korea, you cannot, and you are not, is illegal to the point of beheading to get on the internet. There's a reason for that. Kim Jong-un wants to lock down the country so nobody can know what's really happening. And that's something the internet has done, is it's gone around the corporate media. Had we only had the media, remember, the media is owned by 6 companies, okay? These 6 companies want favorable legislation. They also want access to politicians. Since they want both of those, they're going to be very nice and very coexisting, as it were, with the government. And when the government asks them to do something, they're going to acquiesce because their interests are at hand. Power is in D.C. to regulate the media industry. Media industry wants to sidle up and work very closely with D.C. So the internet has gone around that. And this is why the media doesn't report on things like NDAA. They don't report on things like the NSA unless they're forced to. You know, the NSA revelations came out in 2005 in the New York Times, and no one covered it. So this was big news back then, and now we have the media being forced to cover the NSA, being forced to cover police militarization, regardless of whether they want to or not, even though they want to have a cozy relationship with DC. So the reason media doesn't tell us stuff like this is they would lose their access, and they would get punished legislatively by the politicians that they're supposed to be keeping accountable.
That makes tremendous sense, and, you know, I knew it was a silly question, and I knew the answer. I just wanted to hear how you said it. So basically we shouldn't and can't trust people like Rachel Maddow or Bill O'Reilly or any of their cohorts.
Bill O'Reilly? You seriously going to bring up his name? Are you seriously? Oh, my God.
As he is the pinnacle of lying, as far as I'm aware. This guy lies left and right.
He takes lying to an art form. Oh,
he does.
I can't stand him at all. And I think the main reason I can't stand him is because he's so dishonest and so pro-national security state. He is the epitome of what the media was never supposed to be. He is both entertainment and a really horrible liar.
Yep. Absolutely, I agree wholeheartedly. So do you find that there's any places and any sources when you go online that you can trust and know, and you know, who can you count on these days?
Yourself. You see, all media has bias. Panda is a form of media. Our bias is we're very much against the NDAA. We're very much pro-liberty, pro-constitution, pro-civil rights. Well, a lot of organizations aren't. So we're going to have a different bias than them. MSNBC is going to have a bias. Fox is going to have a bias. You have a bias. I have a bias. Everyone has a bias. And so the important thing is not to trust any single source, but to have 4 or 5 sources that disagree with each other and keep an eye on all those sources. So you're getting different points of view on the same topic. Because if you only get one point of view, the brain has a tendency to just accept that one point of view without any thinking, without any consideration. Okay, well, that view is obviously it. That's how mainstream media works so well, is they all have the same view on things. Well, when you bring in different views, when you bring in different ideas, the internet's better, much better than mainstream media, because at least when you bring in different views, a lot of them are trying to tell you their version of the truth, instead of just being outright and lying. But you can't trust a single source because that source is biased. You need to check it with other sources. And I want people, you know, you're on Panda and you're checking with other sources, and other sources say, what on earth? I want you to contact us and say, hey, this link is wrong, or your fact right there is wrong. That's what keeps us accountable, and that's what should keep other alternative media accountable as well.
So we should be checking each other then, helping each other, and because we're all in this together.
Absolutely.
What a concept.
I know, like people working together outside of government forcing them to. Brilliant.
It's amazing how we've gotten where we are today in comparison to where we were and what the Founding Fathers has set in place. We're just at the other end of the spectrum. And it just seems it's only a matter of time till the greater majority of people just say, that's it. They've had enough, and we take things back.
You see, I've seen this idea that we're all of a sudden just going to get up and take things back. And it's a really romanticized idea. It's a really great idea for a Hollywood movie. All of a sudden, all the people rise up and take back. But let's look at a situation where all the people rose up at once. Instead of building a foundation, instead of building a solid structure, instead of going after issue by issue by issue in the long, hard grind back to a free society, let's look at what happens when the people stand up. Egypt. Egypt stood up. All the people did exactly what I've seen a lot of Americans in the United States argue for, is they went to their D.C., which is Cairo. They went to their D.C., they protested in the square, and they said, you out, Mubarak, we want you out, you're a dictator. And yeah, Mubarak was a dictator, very much so, U.S.-backed dictator for that matter. And the people kicked him out. Who did they get? They got Mohammed Morsi. Mohammed Morsi was even more of a brutal dictator. He made Mubarak look like a child with the type of tactics he employed. And that time, the military sided with the people, took control, and appointed Morsi. Well, so they went into the protests in the streets again. More people, the biggest protest in history, 7 million people in the streets. Bring them down. No more Morsi. No more Morsi. And they did. He stepped down. Who did they get? General al-Sisi. Al-Sisi just happens to be the general who was military commander under both other dictators. Okay. He's now in charge of the country. So every time the Egyptian people have gone to protest and let's take it down, let's take it down, let's knock it down, what have they gotten? They've gotten another dictator and another dictator and another dictator. Because even though it's not sexy, even though it's not really cool for a Hollywood movie, the only way a real and true nonviolent peaceful revolution works is from the bottom up, not the top down.
So what you're talking about then is what's very important is organization. Because we hear so much about how the military and the different organizations here in America on that side of the fence are organized. People need to be organized. So you're talking about that kind of setup, right? Making sure that we're organized, grassroots, starting from the bottom, so you have a good foundation, and then you can move forward with even more strength.
Kind of, not quite. When a lot of people think of organization, they think of a big tent theory. They think of, okay, everybody get in this one coalition, let's go. Or 3 or 4 coalitions or whatever. Let's all get together and go. And what we've found, if you are going to take down a monopoly with a monopoly, you are going to end up with another monopoly. Mm-hmm. It's not so much important for us to organize as it is for us to work together. Organization implies that there's some sort of people you report to, some sort of hierarchy. See, the way we have done Panda is, yeah, there's a small core of us. Yes, there is some level of organized structure in our organization. There's like 15 or 16 of us who are specifically Panda, and then we have a state rep, like one state rep for several different states. But the key here is not so much organization as orchestrated chaos. And people, believe it or not, are better at running their lives than you or I, are better at running their lives than any governmental entity, whether that governmental entity is an organizational structure, whether the government entity is an actual government. They're better at running their lives, and they're better at doing it. So all we do is we provide the strategy. Here's the strategy. Here's both the strategy and the end game. And then you guys want some help, feel free to reach out to us. We're here. There's plenty of people out there just like us who know about the NDAA, and this is just NDAA particularly, but there's plenty of people out there who know about the NDAA and who understand the concepts behind it, and we're all going to get together. Like, for example, Take Back Coalition. The Take Back Coalition we've put together is a group of both organizations and media outlets who they're not forming an official coalition. They're not getting in together. They don't even contact each other, really. But what they all agree to is that if someone wants to contact us to take back their city or take back their county from the NDAA, we will help them.
Awesome.
Which means we don't do anything. The citizens who get started have this list of people they can contact. That list is public. That list is right on our website, pandaunite.org/takebackcoalition. Anyone can grab it. Anyone can call these people. Anyone can get started. Anyone can work with the people who we help them to get to work with. And what that does, it's a powerful form of decentralized organization where if Panda goes down for some reason, our website was down for like a week. If our website was down and we had everybody centralized on our website, it would hurt a lot of efforts. If Panda goes down, if we're inefficient, if we get corrupted for some reason, if we get co-opted, it doesn't matter. Because we may be a source of experience and kind of somewhere that people can go to get the strategy, but they're doing the action and they're reaching out to each other. So not so much organization as common goal, general strategy, spontaneous order.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there. That's just about not quite halfway there. There's another 27 minutes to go, and please listen to the rest of it. The link's available to the entire interview. Listen to it, share it with others. A lot of great information in there, including the Take Back Tour and what you need to know about that. So pandaunite.org is where you can go to find out more information, but firstcontactradio.com, click there and you'll get the link to the entire interview that we did. All right, so let's move on here. Start to wrap things up for today. Now, scientific proof that our minds are connected, the multiples effect. Now, this ties in to that idea of us all working together, okay? Because our minds are already connected, so we're already halfway there, right? It says this may seem like a far-out idea, but is it possible that our thoughts create fields of information that go into a global mind we share? Is it possible that our thoughts might create thought fields that can interact with the thought fields of others? There is a fascinating phenomenon in science known as the multiples effect. A multiples effect is when a multiple of people geographically isolated from another group come up with the exact same discovery at exactly the same time. By 1922, there had been 148 major scientific breakthroughs identified to have been discovered in such a way. Here's a few examples: evolution, calculus, decimal fractions, sunspots, law of conservation of energy, steamboat, telescope, thermometer. Is it really possible that all 148 major discoveries happen at exactly the same time, coincidentally, by people who are not sharing the ideas with each other? Imagine two people completely geographically isolated from each other by working on the same problem at the same time. They are each intently working on the exact same dilemma, with their thoughts floating around the consciousness field, energetically interacting with each other. It's kind of like the experience we all have with our friends when we know what they're going to say right before they say it. Okay, and we have examples all throughout history. It says your thoughts are more than just biological functions and are even more than waves of vibrations. They are waves of information as well, which is why people who attempt to complete riddles, tests, and even crossword puzzles always have much higher results after the problems they have already worked on and the answers discovered by many people beforehand. This is because the thoughts of the people who worked on it prior to you have already put the answers out into the global data bank of information that we all share. So this is very important. Very important, because if we're going to stand up in the world, sometimes we think we're isolated individuals out there. And we are individuals, but individuals all connected to a common source. And because of that common connection, we have the ability to come together as people to work together to overcome our problems. So when we have a problem going on, we recognize it. We recognize that something is not right. And even though we want to be in denial about certain problems because we hear stories that the media tells us about what to believe, when we really think about things, the great mind that we're all connected to, we know there's a problem. We have to fix the problems. Now, the way we fix the problems is coming together in our minds and understanding that we have the power. In each and every one of us is a hero that needs to stand up. A hero is someone that stands up against the injustices that are going on. And it doesn't have to be in a big way. It can be in any sort of way that you find the ability to stand up against some injustice today. And imagine if we all did that. Imagine if we had there's 300 million Americans. There's billions of us around the world, 7 billion. Imagine if we had 7 billion heroes. Now that's a lot. Are we going to get that many? Well, that would be really, really idealistic. But even if we get a small portion of that, we still have the potential to have heroes around this world that are helping us to be a better place. Because I believe that there are many, many more, billions more of the good guys out there than those causing the problems. So keep believing in ourselves, keep using our mind, strengthening ourselves. In that regard, this is the message for today, channeled message from Hilarion. Here we go.
Hilarion.
March 2nd to 9th, 2014, by Marlene Swetleshoff.
Hilarion.
Beloved ones, it is important to connect into one's heart and follow its counsel, and to remember that some people are going through experiences in their present moment that require one's empathy, compassion, and understanding as they deal with their feelings in their own respective ways. Remember the love that lies at the core of their being and in yours, and just let it be however it wishes to express itself. Some changes that occur in people's lives are those that create a total revaluation of how one views their own, and that can be a difficult process as it is experienced. At the core of all changes in one's life lies a lesson of acceptance that not everything can stay the same, and that events happen that leave a void that nothing can ever replace. In this, it is only the passage of time which heals these realizations. Love in its many facets of expression is a most potent force and can heal even the most cynical of expectations. When love is held foremost in a person's heart, the world conspires to bring one experiences that reflect that love. Allowing one's heart to stay open during times of sorrow and sadness assists in the healing process of each individual. Oftentimes, these expressions come from a place of woundedness within the person's psyche, and this allows the person to go within and examine these feelings with greater focus than would be given otherwise. It helps them grow and expand their understanding of themselves and others around them, so that they understand that each person has similar events in their own lives that help shape them into more open and loving expressions of the Creator's attributes. Upon the foundation of love, anything and everything can be overcome. Into each person's life come many events and circumstances which their soul has chosen to experience in order to align those areas within their own personality with the higher aspects of human expression. It helps them to connect with a power greater than their human selves can perceive, and it is how they begin to understand that there is a greater force at work in their individual lives than they previously assumed. It is how the quality of faith begins to grow and expand within their awareness. This awakening of the knowledge of a higher power at work in their lives gifts the individuals with the capacity to endure life's many trials and tribulations, and imbues them with an inner strength that will never be lost no matter what events transpire. With every life experience, each individual gains an important value that becomes a part of their repertoire of skills and tools which they implement in their lives as needed. It is only through one's own experience that one can feel empathy and oneness with another. It is by this process that unity amongst all beings takes place. There is also the process that comes, with the giving to oneself, of love and nurturing that brings healing and release from self-recriminations, guilt, shame, and other feelings that have been holding one in a lower vibrational state, and this can liberate the individual to move forward in their life in a symbolic new beginning. Each life lived on earth has great value, and those who leave this plane of existence leave a profound imprint upon those in their sphere of influence. Those who are left behind must look for the gift that was given by their loved one in their associations and interactions with each other. Sometimes, these gifts can only be recognized through the passage of time and experience in the ones left behind. Every experience is utilized by their eternal soul to gain wisdom and expansion as a part of their soul qualities. This has been the purpose of life in a dualistic world, as souls experience the polarities of opposing forces and can still remember that core essence of love and light within them. Until next week. I am Hyla Ryan.
Alright, good message from Hyla Ryan. And that brings us to our meditation for today. So, go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. I want you to contemplate the words of today's affirmation. My positivity propels me forward in my life's journey. There is no room for negativity along the way. I leave all of that behind me. My positivity propels me forward in my life's journey. There is no room for negativity along the way. I leave all of that behind me. And continue to contemplate these words. Revelations of truth and oneness transform my life. All things possible consciousness is my way and my means. My heart is a wide and willing place for love to be expressed. Peace is my way of being in the world. My life is transformed today from the mundane to the miraculous. Who I am makes a difference for good on this planet. Gratefully, I let it be, and so it is. Amen. And just imagine yourself walking along the path of life. And as you do, you see a giant mirror on the right and the left side of you, and in front of you. And no matter where you walk, you see this mirror reflecting back who you are. So you're constantly seeing yourself. And as you look close at these reflections, you realize that these reflections take on different faces, different signs and symbols. And though you are looking at yourself, you are also looking at other images that represent you. And you realize that around you each and every day, that the universe reflects back to you who you are and what it is you need to know. It reflects back to you in the people that you meet, that are aspects of yourself reflecting back to you, yourself. It reflects back to you in the lessons you learn. For those lessons reflect lessons that your soul is needing to understand so you can move forward and evolve. And as you really understand this idea of reflection, you begin to take on a different relationship with life. And life begins to reflect to you new circumstances based on the way, your new understanding. So just imagine yourself walking through life, enjoying the reflection around you, which is the reflection of your inner being. And imagine sending love into that reflection and using your imagination to affect that reflection so that it shines back. That your imagination and the reflection begin to show the same. And we begin to manifest that which is in our mind so that it reflects back to us in the universe. So as you go forth in this day, let our subconscious mind continue contemplating the idea of the reflections around us, that we understand and learn from these reflections, and we learn to affect and change them with our imagination to the positive, so that all of life can be a reflection of love, of peace, and harmony. Take another deep breath. Exhale. Let your subconscious mind continue on that journey. A journey of understanding. A journey of understanding the reflections around us. And let our conscious mind come back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's our show for today. Remember, there's a hero inside of us, just waiting to get out. All we have to do is let it. The world is here to provide us an opportunity for us to be able to step forward. So let's do that. Let's step forward to what the universe is expecting. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Now is the time for us to make a difference. Now is the time when we are needed. I love you. I'll be back tomorrow with more news and information. Till then, be safe and have an awesome day. Peace. I'm out of here.